Hello everyone. For this video, the topic I'm speaking about is how our fear and anger or other lower frequency forms of emotion or feeling can feed the forces that we actually think we're trying to oppose. Often we'll be exposed to something in our life or something that we hear or learn about that gets us upset in some way, that may make us angry or anxious. So you might see a story on the news about some type of violence or something disturbing that's occurring to other people. It could be people that are starving, people that are affected by violence in some other city or country. It could be people being killed or molested in some way. It might be some injustice, something to do with financial corruption or government corruption. There are all kinds of things going on in the world that would seem kind of dark or disturbing. It could be also something in your own personal life. So you may experience a situation where someone does something that's affecting you directly or personally. It's creating some pain or discomfort for you, that's impacting your life in an undesirable way. And your reaction to that may be anger, it may be resentment, it may be fear. So it's natural as a human being to have these emotional reactions to our environment or circumstances. Those reactions are part of a natural system to help protect us, to help us respond or react to whatever is present in our environment. So if someone is doing something that's a threat or danger to you, you need to be aware of that, to recognize that, and to be energized to take some action for your own safety or well-being. So emotions are energy in motion in that sense. They can activate us to take some type of action that we need to for our well-being. So you might need to speak or stand up for yourself. You might need to move away from a dangerous situation. So taking action is something that we often do need to do. And our emotions can give us that energy, that stimulus to move or take action when we need to. However, these emotions as a form of energy are affecting our state of consciousness. So when we're in a very reactive mode based on our emotions, we may not think very clearly. We may not pause and take time to carefully consider what actions we're taking or how we're responding. A strong emotion tends to lead you to be somewhat impulsive, to react quickly. From a survival standpoint, we often don't have time to think and carefully consider things. We might need to take very quick or rapid action to save ourselves. But in our modern society, many of the situations that stir up this anger or anxiety are ones where we actually don't have to react so quickly, where it would be better to not be impulsive, where we'll make a wiser choice, a more healthy decision or action if we're able to kind of slow down, to let that emotion subside so we can more carefully examine what the situation is and what our options for responding would be. So when we are very much caught up in a reaction with fear, anger, anxiety, and so on, we often end up doing things that are actually against what we wish to do. We can sometimes be manipulated or misled because we're not slowing down and thinking, we're just impulsively responding. In many cases, when we're upset about something or someone, we think we're reacting in a way that's going to help address or challenge that person or force or organization that we see as causing harm. As an example, we might be shown some information, some form of media telling us that there's some type of threat of war or terror, and our response or reaction to that could be, oh, I think I'm going to join the army to fight this threat. So that's your protective mechanism in place there. Your cognitive structure says that if there's a threat, you can do something to try to protect against that threat. And in that case, if you're a person with those skills or capabilities, you might join some organization that acts to protect, to defend. However, if the information that was provided, that was made available, was not accurate information, it could lead you to attack the wrong target or the wrong aim. And you could end up creating more problems, or you could end up actually causing harm to someone who's innocent, who was actually being attacked by someone who wants to do harm or cause terror. So in that type of situation, someone might inadvertently be helping out the forces that they think they're actually protecting or acting against. In addition to that, just being in these emotional states, having that energy of or vibration of fear or anger, is kind of feeding that energy to any forces that actually like that energy, that resonate with or feed upon that type of energy. So if you're full of anger, if you're full of fear, if you're full of resentment or hate, then that energy is being radiated and it's feeding that kind of collective or archetypal energy pattern. So the more people are angry, the more it feeds the collective energy of anger, regardless of who or what they think their anger is directed towards. So if we're trying to work to end hate in the world, but we're feeling hate toward the people that we think are creating hate, we're actually feeding into that hate even though we don't intend to. So to start out, if we want to create change, we need to look at our own thoughts, feelings, and emotions, and first shift that energy or frequency within ourselves so we're not unintentionally contributing toward the things in the world that we find undesirable. This can be challenging sometimes because we often get upset, disturbed, or outraged by things that we are rightfully not pleased with. But then when we carry that energy within ourselves, that reaction, those strong emotions, we're not really creating the solution. Those might temporarily motivate us to pay attention to something and to start looking for solutions. But if we maintain that type of emotional energy as we're pursuing a solution, it may lead us in kind of a false or wrong direction toward what could or would actually be a solution. In other words, when you're filled with that fear or anger, you won't be thinking clearly, and what you end up doing, your action, may actually aggravate the situation rather than helping bring a more positive outcome. This is often used intentionally to manipulate the population. So people are stirred up into a state of fear or anger, into a state where they feel their survival is threatened, and then they're given some type of proposed solution. Something is presented as something they can do about it, when that something that's presented to them is actually not in their interests. It's actually in the interests of those who are creating the original problem or disturbance in the first place. Some people have referred to that as a psychological manipulation of problem, reaction, solution, where a problem is deliberately created. The expected reaction from the public occurs, and while the public is in that reactive state rather than a more mindful state, a proposed solution is presented, a solution which is actually some agenda that had existed or been created well in advance by those who created the problem. The problem being something that was intentionally created there to invoke the reaction from the public, so the public will be open or willing to accept that proposed agenda or proposed solution. So if we don't want to get manipulated or misled or conned in that type of way, it's helpful to learn to calm ourselves down when we're feeling that anger or fear, to work on that emotional state within ourselves. And then when we're able to be more present, more mindful, more conscious, then we could start to carefully analyze what is the true source of the problem and what are the actual alternatives that we might consider to make the world a more desirable place from our point of view. I hope that this discussion has given you some insights and ideas about how you're reacting or responding to things in your life and the world around you. I appreciate you for taking your time to view this video. You're welcome to watch my other YouTube videos. And for those that are interested in personal growth and holistic health and spirituality, you can visit my website at phinsights.com. That's phinsights.com. For now, I'd like to wish each of you a wonderful day. Namaste.